Not all rest restores us. I have learned there's a difference between calming down and resting and disappearing. Hey, everybody, it's Megan Holly, and this is the Magic Made podcast. What is up? How are you? What is lighting you up? I need to know. Today, what's going to be lighting my heart up is the idea that we're talking about truly resting, restoring, giving ourselves space. Because as I kind of mentioned, there's a difference between kind of taking a moment and numbing out, which technically I feel numbing out just doesn't do what we think it's going to do. And we've all been there, right? Just zoning out, not really kind of restoring ourselves. And so today we're going to touch base on that. We're going to tap into a little bit of that kind of sentiment. And it comes at a time, for me at least, that I'm constantly reassessing how I'm kind of moving about my life and my business and how I'm feeling in my body. You know, am I really rested or am I just running on empty? Like all the things. And so if you're feeling that way, this episode will be good because we'll tap into kind of understanding the difference between resting and restoring and numbing out. Or disappearing, which sounds so crazy. Are you a magician? You're just disappearing? Hopefully not. And, you know, and just be more aware of what's actually supporting our end goal. Because I know we all love it. We all love a good scroll and, you know, we call it a doom scroll, you know, which feels very negative and heavy. So that's something we kind of want to take a moment for. We want to think about it. Are you scrolling with purpose? Are you scrolling to get inspired? Are you scrolling to, you know, support other people in your life? Or are you just looking at things that are scary or heavy or are just kind of junk and disappearing into the abyss? Which one is it? And how kind of is it supporting you or hindering you? So let's get into this. Give yourself a nice little shoulder roll, stretch out the old, you know, neck, the fingers, whatever you need. Stand up for a second. If you've been sitting, hold on. If you've been sitting for a long time, unless you're driving, obviously, if you were listening to this driving, just make sure when you get there, you give yourself a little stretch. Stand up, do something. I don't care if it's just literally touching your toes and sitting back down, something small so that you are present in your body and your mind. Let's do this, my friends. Okay, so sometimes I kind of love this sentiment. I feel like sometimes we call rest, you know, the things that really aren't suitable for us. So often rest is disguised as avoidance in comfy PJs. You know, it's just like, oh, I'm cozy in my comfies and I'm really chill and I'm resting. But really, maybe we're avoiding or we're, you know, anxiety spiraling, and it's not so much the case. And I know that, at least in my own life, that has been very true, where I'm like, well, I'm in a cozy, you know, pair of pants, so I'm totally resting and I'm totally bringing back the fountain of youth and health in my body. Yeah, no, that's not the case. Rest nourishes, numbing avoids. Numbing avoids. And so it's important for us to identify that because one brings us kind of back to life and reinvigorates us while the other just really takes away from us. It takes away from our energy. It takes away from our experiences with ourselves, with others, like all the things. And I think it's really important to make sure that we really drill that into our thought process. Is it taking away or is it amplifying the good in life? And for me, how the difference is when I feel fully rested, when I feel as though that can happen, like a really true deep breath, like my belly inflated, my shoulders relaxed. When that happens is when I know that real rest has been kind of achieved, or, you know, at least I'm in, you know, the right direction. And it looks vastly different than numbing. When I'm numbing and I know it, this is what's happening. Maybe I'm watching something on TV and I'm literally like fidgeting with my hands. I can feel it. Like, do you ever do that? Like, I don't know if you're like a fidgeter in that regard, but do you ever feel that? And like all of a sudden your fingers and your hands are like tired. They're you're uncomfortable. You can feel the uncomfortable energy in your hands, like literally. And so I'll know. I will literally go, okay, all right, lady, what's happening here? Well, I want to sit down and finish the season of this show, blah, blah, blah. Okay, but do you need something more? Do you need something else? Did you get what you needed in life before doing that? Right? It's not a bad thing to go, watch a show that you love or scroll on your phone or do whatever else might be kind of, could be considered either resting or numbing, but there's the fine line. It's not a bad thing, but if I'm doing that and I'm like this and I'm uncomfortable and I'm just like fidgeting to a point where it's just like, ooh, this isn't good, something has to give. Did I not move my body enough that day? That for me, that's most of the time. I haven't moved my body, because if I moved my body enough that day, sitting down to watch that show, I'm more calm. I'm actually there. I'm present. I'm not like just feeling the energy just bubbling up inside me, or not even totally listening. Like I'm thinking about tomorrow or what I should have done more of today. And that's never good. And so the important thing is identifying it first. The important thing is identifying it first. And so that is one of my cues, the cue of fidget, and especially to a point of being so in discomfort. And then I have to go, okay, how do I shift that right now? Or how do I not let this continue happening? And so when I'm numbing, that's a big sign. Also just droning out where you lose hours, that's just numbing. I love, interacting on socials. I love doing things that could be a very thin line of this whole conversation, but I know when I'm active and I'm doing things, I'm either creating on it or I'm interacting purposefully. I'm not watching celebrity gossip and just getting down these rabbit holes, and just all of a sudden I look back and 3 hours are gone. If I look back and 3 hours are gone, I better have something to show for it. I better have created, well, as for me, this might not be for everybody, but as somebody who does create content, I better have created at least something. I better have, hyped up some people in my world that I love supporting, and not just like, some random, accounts out there in the world. Like I'm very specific about when I'm being intentional and wanting to rest or restore or connect in a different way, that it's purposeful. But if I see that 3 hours went by and not a single stitch of anything went, in fact, I feel worse about myself. My self-worth is down here because I've lost 3 hours that I could have been feeling more joyful, or at least, if nothing else, more productive. That's another sign for me that I've moved into numbing versus resting or engaging in some way. And so I can't imagine in the world that we live in that we don't identify with some of these in some way, shape, or form, because we all kind of are kind of victims, if you will, to overconsumption. And that is a really easy thing that we get pulled into to numb with. And it's not totally detrimental to our life, but over time, right? Day in and day out, it can really chip away at who you are and your confidence and your productivity. So it's something important to kind of keep kind of top of mind and check in. Emotional presence, right? Kind of comes into that. So when we're checking out, we are like, our emotions are almost like lost, if you will. And that can be dangerous if it's too far gone or too often, right? Obviously, we don't need to be feeling something every second of every moment of every day. That would be exhausting. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, you need to tackle your demons every Tuesday at 10 p.m., or you need to, find your joy in every single little nuance of every single day, right? We would be like not even present, and that's not good. But the thing is, we do need to find emotional presence. So if we are watching the thing or, watching the game or whatever it is, are we here? I really enjoy this thing and I'm in it. I'm allowing myself this time, and I'm doing it in a way that feels good to me. I'm doing it in a way that feels like it's adding to my life and not taking away from my life, if that makes sense. And so when we have that emotional presence to do such things, then we can tap into it more. Maybe we have different conversations. Maybe the things that we're, quote unquote, finding ourselves numbing out in, right? We're numbing out. Maybe we use them as conversation starters. Maybe they become a catalyst for a thought. that builds something up. Maybe it builds up your confidence. Maybe it builds up an idea that you're working towards, right? So when we have emotional presence, we can turn something that could go negative or become very kind of zoning outy, very technical terms. Then when we turn it into having some more emotional presence, then we can turn it into something that's actually resourceful and useful. And if nothing else, a little less harmful in the grand scheme of things. And so kind of think about that. How can we turn those things that maybe we tend to use as crutches? Maybe these are other vices as well, like overconsumption of something or, just that kind of stuff. That can also very, very easily be in the numbing side of things. You can, have a celebratory dinner or a drink or whatever, and it can be part of enhancing your life experiences, or it can become to the point where it's like you're so zoned out, you're not even present because you're just on autopilot eating or, drinking or whatever it is. And so just using these other examples as where's the line and how do you find the happy place for you? Because that's super important, so important. So bringing that emotional intelligence in is going to do that for you more often. And again, I want to reiterate that numbing isn't bad. I really want to make sure that we know that numbing isn't bad. Our vices aren't necessarily intrinsically bad. It's how we use them. They also are informative. They inform us about where we are mentally, emotionally. It can be a really good, like, green flag, red flag of where we're at, or maybe even a yellow flag. Let's throw a yellow flag in there. If we're taking a look at the things that we do know we kind of use as coping mechanisms, and they might get into an unhealthy coping mechanism layer where it is numbing, zoning, overconsumption, all the things, we can take a moment and we can go, okay, oh, green flag. I'm good. I'm doing it in a way that isn't taking away all my time and my energy. I'm doing it in a way that, is actually like lighting me up and I'm enjoying and it's fun. Yellow flag, we kind of move into like, oh, like, yeah, you know what? I am kind of seeing that I kind of am siphoning out time in things that aren't really, there's no ROI on them. And I'm not even enjoying myself as much as I would like to. So, but it's like, you're kind of still floating. And then obviously the red flag is like, yes, my time is just gone. I'm actually stressed from what I'm doing and reacting negatively to it. My self-worth is down. There's a laundry list of them that could be happening, or you could be feeling or seeing or thinking. So maybe if you're a visual person, using those flags when you are taking that emotional presence back into your time and your life, using that as kind of your scale and your own kind of guidance. And if you want to use a different kind of visual, use something that's a little bit more on brand for you. But that's just an easy one for us, here. But for me, being a visual person, it does help me to identify where I'm at with everything, and if I need to take a little bit of a moment to reassess the situation, because we need to. We all need to, on a regular basis, take a moment, take a breath, take a beat, Take a breath right now if you need it, because maybe you do. Numbing is a coping mechanism, as we said. It's not really a flaw, but it can become to a point where we feel flawed because of them. And that's when it becomes that red flag. It often stems from the desire to feel more quiet, to have some relief from the ongoing just like train of life sometimes. I laugh because I was like, what am I going to say with that? But like the ongoing train of life. And once in a while, we just want a moment. We want to like signal to our brain, like, let's be quiet. Let's be quiet. Let's have a moment. And that's great. Those desires should be listened to. And I would have to think that if we listen to them more often, we would stay more in the yellow to green flag situations over the red flag, because we're paying attention more often and we're not going to the coping mechanism negative town. You know what I mean? We're not moving it to a space that isn't helpful anymore. You know what I mean? So offering yourself compassion instead of shame is important in this whole little part of the conversation, because when we give compassion, well, I don't really know better. That's all I know to do. That's just kind of been how I've done it all my life. Those are real things. Let me just remind you, those are real things. I feel very alone. I feel as though, it's the best thing. I don't have any other resources. I don't have, access, maybe, because maybe in your brain, something that would be better would be going to something in a community-based class or something. And you're like, oh, I don't have access to that right now. And so then you're just kind of feeling like a failure. You're feeling downtrodden because you don't know where to go next. That's okay, right? Take a deep breath, take a moment, and let's reevaluate what you can do that's in your grasp, little tiny baby steps, yeah? And just, again, reintroducing yourself with your relationship with these vices in itself is a start. You don't have to change every single thing under the sun just to like get to the other side of this, but you just need some awareness and then some other options, right? Just other options, which is great. So restoration is what I think most of us, even though maybe it's not a word that we would use, I think most of us are looking for feeling restored, replenished, revitalized. And the way to that can be a little confusing or cloudy sometimes. And so it can come from a lot of things. I don't know about you. Let me know what it comes from for you. For me, it comes from the most, doing the most a lot of times. And the chatter in the brain of, well, why didn't you? Shouldn't you have done this differently? Like just those, Regina, the gremlin, is out to get me when I'm in those moments. And so when I'm really thinking about it, right, and I'm actively working through this as I'm talking to you, honestly, when I'm really thinking about the idea of restoration and what really replenishes me, what is it? It is more truly quiet. And I don't mean quiet with like something in the background playing softly so that like you don't feel so alone, because I know I've been there. Like I need the TV on so that I don't feel totally by myself. Maybe that's the thing that I have normalized, that being normal. I need the antibody to that, which is quiet. And maybe that's with a sound machine or, with just like instrumental music at least. So it's not like words and people and things and plots and all the things going on in the background. So that's what comes to mind for me, is wanting more quiet. But what's the right kind of quiet? The right kind of restoring moments. For me, it is diving deeper into things that quiet my mind. I love getting my hands in the soil. That's why I'm a plant lady, because it's like I can put the dirt in the pot and put the plant in, and I can check on it and I can water it. And it's something like when I'm tending to them, honestly, really and truly, I feel so replenished after, especially if I'm out gardening, maybe in the spring or, keeping up on stuff during the summer. I like come in and I'm like, oh, I feel like I didn't have a thought in the world. Tapping into those things that are at least productive for you, that give you that restoration, that revitalization, because I didn't waste time doing that. I beautified my garden or a pot or whatever. I've given myself oxygen and, touch soil, things that are grounding, they're good for the environment, like all the things. I've actually done something that makes me feel productive and proud. So how can you find the things and do more of it? Because so often we all know our things that are restorative, but we turn them into something else. Maybe we have the TV on in the background while we're doing them. Maybe we do them barely. Maybe we do them regretfully or, begrudgingly because we're trying to fit it in. We got to change that, right? Because it's not going to feel restorative if it's a check mark, if it's chaos, if it's just another thing to do. So as we wrap up here, what I really want you to really think about here is what truly replenishes you. Are you already doing it? If it's something that you already do, how can you do it differently? Add another layer, drown out the things that maybe aren't necessary within it, that maybe you fluff in to help you, have that quiet or that away or that restorativeness, but actually it's just a coping mechanism. It's just a Band-Aid. It's just kind of there, but it's not really what you need. get some top tier. So my 3 things, so top tier priorities within this. So mine are movement, stillness, and creativity. Movement, stillness, and creativity, right? And so those 3 things, how do I tap into them more and get them regularly, daily if possible, and intentionally, not like, oh yeah, it was quiet in the car on the drive home, but did you really embrace it? Did you really take a moment? Did you check in? Did you take a deep breath? Like, you know what I mean? Like doing it intentionally. Letting it not just be an accident that it comes across your way. Like, oh yeah, like I got a couple extra minutes in the car by myself. Like, yeah, like that's cool and all, but did we really make it what we needed it to be? So you don't need to disappear. I don't want you to disappear into the abyss in order to feel rested. And the magic of it all is that you get a chance. You get a chance to take stock in this. You can feel, and I think we live in a society that just tells us this is how it's supposed to feel. If I can leave anything at this kind of last thought juncture, it's that we live in a society that tells us it's just going to be busy. Get the home delivery service, do the this, do the that, do the this to make it easier, but it's always going to feel like this. Ooh, that's cruel because it's not true. It's not true. We just feel that that's the way because we're marketed to feel that way. We've set ourselves up, maybe in our boundaries and our schedules and all of that, but it's not true. We can have more balance. We can rest and restore without numbing out and making actually what should be beautiful and just human feel actually more stressful. Yeah. So go on, let me know the things that are your top tiers, right? Movement, stillness, creativity for me. What are your top tiers or some of your favorite things to do that really, truly do make you feel restored and good? I want to hear about it. That makes me so happy. Drop them in the comments, send me a message. I'm here for it. The more that we talk about it, the more that we're apt to do it in a way that's beautiful, fulfilling, and all the good things. If you have come across any magic in your life, and if you've been around, you know what that means. It means a sunbeam, a beautiful prism or rainbow on your wall, a little glimmer of light somewhere. If you've come across it, please share in your socials, tag me in them. I love seeing us all find little moments of magic everywhere. I'm out there, I'm putting them on there. If you don't follow my stories, you should, because they're everywhere, and it's the way to find my way into topics like this. It's my way to remind myself to have a check-in, to find a restorative quiet moment, to just shriek in sheer giddiness and send them my way so that we can just make this world more magical, more intentional, and all the beautiful things. If you are new here or you have not yet subscribed or followed the show, please do so. I would love to have you here so that you are not missing a beat, that you are here for all the great conversations. You're seeing all of even the short form content on YouTube that is hanging out there for you. I love being in this world with you. I promise you, it makes my world better having you here. So don't forget to do that. And until next time, make sure before you come into the next episode that you listen to, make sure you find a little bit of intentional rest for yourself and enjoy it to the max. La 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 la